Welcome to Folklore and Mythology, the podcast where we dive deep into the legends that shape both Scottish and Irish culture. I'm your host Jodie, and today we're exploring a hauntingly beautiful creature of the sea, the Selkie. Now this is one of my absolute favourite creature from folklore. I just think they are so stunningly beautiful, and the stories around them are so poignant with a lot of the things that we face in everyday life. So here's a little bit more about them. Selkies are magical beings from Scottish and Irish folklore. They are creatures who live as seals in the ocean, but shed their skins to become human on land. The word Selkie itself comes from the Scots word for seal, and the stories surrounding Selkies are particularly rooted in the Orkney and Shetland Islands, although you hear a lot of similar myths along the Irish coast as well. At a first glance, Selkies might seem a little bit like mermaids or sirens, but they are unique in their dual identity. They're not just sea dwellers visiting land, they're torn between two lives. This duality, seal in the sea and human on land, is rich in symbolism. It speaks to transformation, the struggle of identity, and the pull between freedom and belonging. One of the most common themes in Selkie stories is the idea of captivity. In many of the tales, a male human finds a Selkie woman who has shed her seal skin to walk the shores. He'll take her skin and he'll hide it from her, which traps her in her human form. She becomes his wife and bears his children, but she always longs for the sea. And one day, when she finds her hidden skin and returns to the waves, she leaves behind the life that was built on land. It's a heart-wrenching narrative, but it reflects deeper truths about love, loss, and longing. The Selkie doesn't leave because she doesn't love her human family. She leaves because she was never truly free in that life. The themes around these stories often ask, can love even exist without freedom? It's not all about the Selkie women though. There are also Selkie men in folklore, although they're much less common. They're described as breathtakingly beautiful and very seductive. They're known for seducing lonely women or unhappy wives. In some tales, they're summoned by a woman crying 7 tears into the sea. This reversal adds complexity. It shows that the allure and danger of the Selkie is not confined to one gender. Now the children in these tales, the half-human, half-Selkie children, they're said to share their Selkie parents' dark hair and eyes, and to be born with webbed hands or feet. They're also often said to have an affinity for the sea. In fact, in some tales, it's said that they inherit some of their Selkie parents' skin, or an entirely new skin altogether. But generally, this is not focused on in the stories. At the centre of every single Selkie story is the ocean. Mysterious, powerful, and eternal. The sea is not just a backdrop, it's a symbol of the unknown, of nature's wildness, and of a world humans can never fully control. Selkie tales often remind us of the delicate line between human life and the untamed forces of nature. In recent years, we've seen Selkies resurface into modern literature and film. One of my absolute favourite films right now is a children's film called Song of the Sea. Now it tells the Selkie tale with beautiful animation, and I highly recommend you check it out. We can also see it in literature. Writers like Margot Lanigan and Joanne Harris have woven Selkies into fantasy novels. They explore themes of identity and autonomy through this ancient lens. So why has there been a resurgence of this beautiful mythological creature? Maybe it's because Selkies at their core embody the tension we all feel, the yearning to belong and the desire to be free. They speak to anyone who's ever felt caught between two worlds. Whether as a cautionary tale, a love story, or a symbol of the ocean's eternal pool, Selkies continue to enchant and inspire. Their stories remind us that the most powerful myths often rise from the waves and from the spaces between who we are and who we long to be. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Folklore and Mythology. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe wherever you listen to your podcasts. And until next time, may the tides be kind and may you always find your way back to the shore.